to make this happen last Thursday, and it didn't quite work out, but we all made it back today. We're very pleased you have made the journey to see us today. Let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Kills Small, and then we'll jump into our presentation today. He is an Oglala Lakota from Porcupine, South Dakota, on the Pine Ridge Reservation, a 1997 graduate from the University of South Dakota with an MA in Selected Studies and retired after 20 years at USD. He taught Lakota language, American Indian thought, Sioux and tribal culture, early Native American history. He is featured in the book Wounded Warriors, A Time for Healing. And he has parts in various videos as well. He is a storyteller for public schools, museums, and colleges. And he translates, explains, and sings Lakota ceremonials, sweat lodge, powwow, rabbit, round dance, warrior, vision quest, and Sunday night songs. He sings with the Iron Wing Singers of Wagner, South Dakota. He is a powwow organizer, announcer, arena director, and helps in conducting Lakota ceremonies. He has portrayed Tecumseh, a Shawnee chief, and British general. He has also portrayed Dr. Charles Alexander Eastman, the first Dakota medical doctor. He is on the board of directors for the Native American Advocacy Program. And we are so pleased to have him here today, in particular to talk about water. So I'm going to hand it over to him. Thank you all for coming, and let's give him a warm welcome.
I drove through water. I couldn't see the car ahead of me. But I'm skilled at surviving through many of the blizzards and things I drove through. I don't know why they have the hospitals and different treatment centers to have the internship visits during blizzard times. I had my wife to all of her engagements, mingling to the internship part of her studies. She's a clinical psychologist. It's unfortunate. I'm the guinea pig. But she always helps me with my English. I'm a first language speaker of Lakota. So sometimes I have
I think the batteries are going out. Switch me out with
so sometimes I have difficulty with the language. There's a lot of cliches and different ways of speaking English on the surface. Like if somebody said, hit the dirt, I wouldn't reach down and hit it. She teaches me things like that. I have to watch Turner classic movies to catch up on the cliches. A lot of cliches in our old movies. The old, my favorite one, Yankee Doodle Dandy. Anybody see that before? How about Meet Me in St. Louis? A lot of famous songs out of that, right? Clang, clang, clang goes the trolley and stuff like that. Every time I saw it, I'm looking to see it again. So I like those old time movies like that. Really homey, intimate, kindly. I hope to get those days back again. One of these, my home is that way. I have 10 cats, 4 dogs, 6 birds. I got 3 parrots, 1 cockatiel, and 2 parakeets. One of my cockatiels passed away. So now I'm looking around for another cockatiel to have a little Arcadia have a friend. I'll call you later. We'll talk at you see it, right? Okay. One of my online students always calls me about what he goes to school at Santee. There's a Indian college. When he's stumped, he calls me. And so that's all the time we depend on our animals for good heart. I pray with my little kitten now is this big, but she still sits on my lap in the morning after breakfast, and we pray. My little kitten has natural prayer, and they have the sound of love. Did you ever hear the sound of love? Well, she was little. I listened to where that is. Where's that coming from? Did you lose? I get silly sometimes with my little animals. It gives me permission, to show love openly. And it helps me to keep strength in my heart. That's the way my grandparents were. My grandparents were very loving. And my mother's parents, I moved there when these two grandparents died. So I moved in with my grandma and grandpa of my mother's parents. I didn't know my mother until way later in life. She gave me away in Kyle to a couple, but they worked in Nebraska, and always during times of no automation, no combines, no corn pickers, no combines for the wheat, so we had to bundle the wheat and stand it up, and then we load it on a cart, a huge hay sled, and then take it to the threshing machine. I'm from that world, where I saw the changes come throughout my lifetime. So I saw different machinery start to be on our lands. I learned about irrigation. I learned about canals. A lot of things that has to do with water for the animals. So, Dewey Reed put a pipe into the sandhills because the water goes along with the contour of the land. It follows the water table. It follows the contour. No matter if it's a hill, that water table still follows it. Dewey Reed must have knew that because he put a pipe into the hill and water would drip from that pipe to his cattle tank. So he didn't have a windmill. He had spring water, right? It's actually spring water is what it is. And so Nebraska, along the Niagara, there's a lot of springs. On our reservations, Pine Ridge, Indian Reservation, they gave us the worst land close to the Badlands. But one thing about our valleys going toward Nebraska border, north of there, and part of the north part of Nebraska are springs. So our valleys on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation are spring fed. Clean, ice, cold water. My grandpa made a square box and dropped it where a spring was with cedar, because cedar is water friendly. It keeps the water, it doesn't rot or anything. And then he put a little pipe on the side so the water drips out. But we just get our bucket and get water from the water in the box. And sometimes you put a watermelon in there so it can be floating because it's ice cold. And that's where we put our buckets, plastic buckets with butter, the cheese and things that we want to keep cold, that's where they go. So we had our own refrigerator that's free. So you have to be knowledgeable. These old people who raised me had common sense. They knew about things and how to provide for themselves. In the winter, we'd go break the ice so that the cattle and animals that can't lick snow quick enough to quench their thirst would have a place to drink water. I saw a place where the horses tried to break the ice to get water because they were thirsty, and there was blood on the ice because they were trying so hard. It puts a lump in your throat. It makes you lonesome. So I really appreciate Grandpa for breaking the ice and making holes down the valley. I didn't know why we were doing that. I thought it was just part of being there. So I was little. So I had a little rod and I wasn't doing the same thing. I copied everything he did. I copied him. I wasn't in school. I just watched it and learned. The limbs, even the limbs. He had a stick about this long with a rope on it. He would throw it up and wrap it around the limb, pull it. He called it chayuchuga. Cha is wood, pull, and make that cracking sound. That's the huga. Chayuchuga. Pulling to make the branch snap. That's the, and then we would bring it down, hatch it, cut it small pieces. We put it on a sled, a wood sled, and pull it back up to the home. And that was our kindling. We had bigger logs to put in the big stove in the center. The hardwood burns all night long. They always put water on top in a saucepan or a tea kettle to have the steam come out so we could breathe clearly and not have a dry throat in the middle of the night. Once again, common sense. So I'm watching them. And now people have humidifiers and all that kind of stuff. I don't like those. I think there's some kind of chemical in it that doesn't agree with human breathing. So in the winter, I have a little hot plate. I put it in the bedroom. I put a saucepan on it, just a little bit for the steam to come up and sleep good. I have a little milk jug there with water when it gets really bad. And so, common sense stuff with using water. Really appreciated these old people. And, so later on in life, when they passed away, and I stayed with the couple who were supposed to be taking care of me, south of Gordon, Nebraska, across the Niobrara River, up on the flats up there. There's meadows up there for good gardens. The early fruit, strawberries, Lakota, the early ripened vegetable. It's early. It's the first one to get ripe. And so I started to know the times when plants were ready for harvesting or eating. I used to pull out a carrot and clean it up, just eat it right there. Or a tomato. Oh, that stays in so good. And so that just natural things that I thought everybody did. I probably did. I don't know. I was just copying the people. And so that's a good thing to know all of that as I was growing in this world of ours. And so when this couple divorced, they were arguing with each other, and one was in one bar, and the woman who was supposed to be my mother was in another bar, and I couldn't go in bars, so I peek in, see whether we would come out. I go to the other one, peek in, and then they disappeared. I peeked in, she was gone. I went to the other, he's gone. So my home was underneath a willow tree, weeping willow, so that the branches came down, and it was like a hut. And so underneath there was my home. That's where I slept. And then there's a fence. This is a city park. Across the fence, Bobby Redall lived there. And he saw me over there, said, come over. He said, you staying under here? So I said, yeah. I sleep under here every night. He said, you up. Let's come on. Took me downstairs to the basement. We carried out a big mattress. And we put it underneath that willow tree. And so there was Bobby, me, Lou, and Don Roy. There were four of us that stayed underneath there because they wanted to stay with me. Underneath the tree. But we would go to one of them's home. I would bathe, shower stuff. Then they would feed us. And we would go to that one next day and stuff. So we made our circuits of where to eat and clean up and stuff. And so whole summer I lived that way. I mowed lawns. I had a good work ethic. People raised me to give me a good work ethic. And so I mowed lawns, had date trees and stuff. Pull out the flowers off the ones that are dead so that more would grow. I was learning things from these people who had gardens, flowers and stuff, about plants. Just working to learn, right? On the job training. If a child did that now, what are they gonna say? Child abuse. What else? Child labor laws. All kinds of laws and policies that encroach on a growing boy's life. Trespassing, right? Those are the people who should say that prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we trespass against them, or whatever it is. You know, sometimes people do trespass. They're trespassing on my territory of growing on my own. I was proud to grow on my own. And I'm still proud because I still have a good work ethic from those old people. Those older ones, the ones that raised me initially, they gave me a little bucket. And my grandpa would chop wood and the chips would fly. So there's a whole pile every week. That sounds good. You ever hear somebody getting actually down about ding. Oh, it sounds so traditional. Ding. And there I am. Here's what I did. I would pick I would pick a chip. I said, well, that's not too good. Oh, that's a good one. Good one. Not good. Good one. They're all going to burn. Why am I saying one is good and one is bad? You know? So later on in life, when I start to learn to meditate, I look back at that window in time and I said, so why was I doing that? And I thought that maybe these couple who love me so much and that I really love them very, very much, that they had to have the best. So I made up stories that they should have the best. That's not good, this one's good. So I was making up my own stories about goodness. I can't do that anymore. I lost it someplace along the line. But I still pray every morning. If I can, who isn't a kitten anymore. I'm still at it. You know, I hitchhiked a lot when I was young. I would just leave, especially after high school when I graduated. I was down the road. I went to state fairs and go to the trailer where it has Arizona labor or labor office. I would go in there. You have to fill in all the skills you have, and always put farm machinery operator and maintenance. So at those park and those state fairs, always got a tractor and a trailer because I could maintain the tractor and I could drive it. And I picked up the trash bags, or put a different trash bag on it. And I had a ID that I was part of the show. Meaning I could go to all the dances and rodeos and things for free because I worked for the state. Common sense. I see a lot of young people, and I said, "What are you guys doing?" We're just kicking back, chilling. We're chilling. What does chilling mean anyway? Give me some of your time. I have so many things to do in the daytime. I'm doing this, I do that, and go on by, make sure I put that there, so I could remember to feed the birds or whatever. So I have little things that I give as signals to myself to remember to catch on that later. Multitasking, right? And so that's the way I function in this life. So I'm always on something. I find something to do all the time. And it's so fun to find something new to do. And in between there, I read about science, like water. I'm still on it with the water. And I'm trying to start a society called Love Song Society. It's herbalists that came together to have a conference and visit. And all of them are my friends, and they don't know each other. So when we got that grant to get this going, the Earth Song seminars, I called all my friends that were herbalists or are responsible for acreages of land and things. I invited them to that those seminars. They didn't know each other. I knew all of them. And I didn't tell them that I knew the other herbalists and friends that I had. So they all met there naturally. I set it up so that they could meet. And it was so exuberant and fun to talk to one another. Our summer camp, we have teepee stays, we have dormitories, we have cottages, small house, tiny houses and stuff at our summer camp. Google it. It's LakotaYouthDevelopment.org. Lakota Youth Development. Remember that. It's really important that you know these things because it's a natural infrastructure for summer camps for children, people who want to stay in a teepee, and there's a list of things you can check off that you can do while you're there, including storytelling by me. Evening bonfires, we have canoes, we have horses. We take you on an outing on one of those days. Sometimes we take the people who come as a group, we take them to the Black Hills or wherever they want to go. We take them on an outing and show them all our features in the Black Hills and bring them back. Right now, they're having the women coming of age ceremony. I opened it yesterday with prayer, and then I go back Thursday when they bring them out, learning about water, learning about sewing, leatherwork. They make their own dresses. They harvest the sweet grass, the bitter root, the tipsila, which was in June. They already did that. And also they harvest a lot of other plants around. Like I said, it's a natural infrastructure of our area. And so they get to bundle those, and then on Thursday they give them away as gifts. So we teach them about harvesting, cleaning, preparation, preserving, cooking, and they serve us and we eat with them. The whole circle of healthy lifestyles and independent living. That's what we teach our children. They have their own business. We have honeybees, so they could refine their own honey. They bottle them, label them, sell them. Lakota Honey Lodge.com. LakotaHoneyLodge.com. Get your honey there. It's on the prairies where it's not sprayed, but we still get the ambience of the farmers that do, adjacent to our lands. So there's always that air that carries those pesticides and stuff through the air. So we still inherit. So we can't label our honey as organic because of that. So, trespassing, right? You. I'm here. I'm speaking right now. It's in the museum. You know?
Sioux City.
Sioux City. Oh, okay. You're looking for me in Norfolk. That's okay, right? At least they'll visit their museum. Cause things to happen. Okay, so after I was taken back in the fall because I have to go to school, right? It's a law. So one of the couples found me and took me back to my biological mother. So I got to meet her. She's still like a girl because she had me when she was 14. That's why she gave away, because she said a child can't be raising a child, right? She probably wanted to go to school. So that's how I ended up in Kaya. So I never did know her. But now I do. They took me back to her. But that's when I started to stay with her mother and father. The grandpa who made the square box for the spring, and started to learn about the area. And we were sitting outside underneath the shade of the home. We have a shade over there with pine boughs, outdoor cooler. But in the evening, we just sit alongside the home because the shadow's coming from the west. And Grandpa said, sometimes we always see a Ketayuhala, a person that carries a light along that hill over there. Maybe a lantern walking along over there. It goes by sometimes. Ketayuhala, the fire carrier. And so one evening I was sitting outside all by myself, and then I saw it, that fire going by over. I ran back here. That's it. Ketayuhala, like I saw it. They said, oh no, Every now and then we see that too. They weren't surprised because they see it all the time. Just me, it was my first time, so I was just jumping up and down with a new discovery of some kind. And so there's down there, what do the beaver do? They cause marshes. They cause the land to enrich the land on the bottom lands, to have plants come back that probably didn't come back for many, many, many generations. They come back. There's waterfowl that we didn't see. All of a sudden, I see this black duck with a beak. What? A black duck with a beak? Yeah. Later on in life, when I could read, I looked for that duck. They call it a coot. Coot. Anybody ever hear of a coot? That's what it was. So I'm learning things about even the waterfowl caused by the beaver. Introducing new things. Their natural science. Their natural ways of bringing things back to the earth. That probably wasn't there for a long, long time, but now they're there. Did you ever have a pond and all of a sudden it fills because of that lot of rain? Overnight you hear them, ribbit, 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 ribbit. Where does all those frogs come from? But they can lay underneath the ground for 7, 8 years underneath because they're locked in until water comes back and they're loosened up, and then all of a sudden overnight, ribbit, 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 ribbit. We finally got loose, we escaped. And so, remember I told you about that spring where we put a water on? Sometimes I would see curly, wavy, little, crookedy little rainbows. A rainbow of all kinds. Nothing. Meaning there's oil in that water. I told Grandpa, I said, maniki nothing leche. I said, oil stuff on top, but the water goes out on the bottom, right? On the surface, see that rainbowish color like it's oil. And he said, it'll disappear. Every now and then it does that. Meaning, our land had oil. Gulf Oil Corporation one time drilled and then see how much oil was there. Then they capped it. So it's waiting. Porcupine. I had land there, my mom and me. So I was getting a oil lease from Gulf Oil Corporation. Every month we'd get a check from the Gulf Oil Corporation. I sent a penny off for 5 albums. See if it works. See if it's a lie. I sent it off. About a couple of weeks later, got my albums. The Zombies. and the astronauts out of Denver. You ever hear of the astronauts out of Denver? About the Fenders out of Denver. We had them for our prom, that band for our prom in Holy Rose Mission. Oh, it's a Mexican band. Oh, they're awesome. Even slow dance songs. If you dance too close, they put a flashlight on. They want you to dance, then when you do, they put a flashlight on, dancing too close. Trespassing. Can you have intimacy, social bonding and stuff? Yeah. I don't think they knew the word. They're too Catholic. Flashlight. Catholic. I can say that. Because he's one. I'm really strict, you know, so not that strict. And so I went to college at some time in my life. UNL. So I want to take the easiest course I could roller skate through the semester. So I took physical geology. Well, I know about seeds and stuff like that. It isn't about states and stuff like that. It's about measuring advection rates. It's measuring convection rates. The speed of the wind going up a hill, speed going down, all kinds of scientific stuff. But the teacher was so good. He would tell stories other than our scientific knowledge you're supposed to get out of these textbooks. He'd tell stories. He said, you know, sometimes methane and a lot of the, especially oxygen and those nitrogen, when they all come together, they light up like a ball and they bounce. So I was thinking, I said, wow, we had that in Porcupine of the light bouncing because we had the little swamp debris. So they created their own little methane balls and bouncing over the land. At home in Porcupine, when I was sitting under the shade, to me that was mystical. It was sacred. The spiritual, the carrier of the fire. It was a being for us. But now I found out the science part. I'm finding out the science part. In Louisiana, places like that, those ones, they see them every day. They call it will-o'-the-wisp. Google it. Will-o'-the-wisp. The bouncing gas fibers. And so the science took away my mysticism. I told Vetter in one of my classes, you know, I thought this is all sacred. Now I found out the science part. And Vetter said, well, it's really good because you was at the right place at the right time for both of them. Now you know the science and the spiritual. So that kind of made me feel better. It made me feel hope. It made me know that there is a spiritual aspect to these things. It made me realize my humanity. I'm just an ordinary little guy. But I get to see the science in my head to explain exactly what's going on. Like the time I was driving back from Eagle Butte, went to visit a friend, coming back early in the morning, daybreak, when the Bear Butte was up ahead. And Bear Butte is a sacred mountain for us in South Dakota by Sturgis. A lot of things going on right now. 2 weeks ago, one of my friends went over there to do her vision quest. She said it was awesome. Well, that awesomeness I saw as I was probably about 10 miles away from Bearview. It was over there in distance. And I could see there was a staircase going up, steam or clouds. It was rising up in a circle like a staircase, getting to the top. And when it got to the top, it lifted, and it looked like there was a hand reaching for the sky. The opening of that lift. I stopped and I actually offered tobacco and prayed. I said, no wonder why they call that thing. That same class told me that when there's condensation, then we have evaporation. And then if you have a land feature that has a conical shape, the breeze would blow around it and lift the steam off of the evaporation from that condensation. Lift it, and it makes its own cloud. I thought it was sacred. Now they're explaining the science behind it. Once again, I became a human. There is a science behind the sacredness that I have. It explains what really happened. So the Creator gave us both, right? He gave us the science and our own heartfelt humanity. To those things that we put stories to. Putting stories to things. It made me feel like that little boy who said, "Oh, that's a goodie. This is a bad one." Start to realize that little boys can be adult little boys too. It was a story for children of all ages, this creation. And I love it that way. When I get to see something and make sense of it. Like Grandma and Grandpa, common sense kind of people. It kind of made me appreciate them even more. So I'm at a farm after they passed away. And the cattle tank, a huge, was all ice. So I got a rod. It's going, I was still a small boy. The boss comes over and he says, "Jerry, what are you doing?" Making a hole for the water. He said, "Why?" "I don't know, you're supposed to." I just knew you're supposed to. I didn't know it was so that the cattle who couldn't lick snow quick enough could quench their thirst. Things like that. I just knew that you're supposed to. I didn't know that there was a reason behind it. I just did the supposed to parts. Probably most of my life I did the supposed to parts. You're supposed to. Well, why do you save the ham bone that's in the refrigerator? Because you're supposed to. My wife does. She makes some awesome soup. Would always add a couple of slices of the salt pork. It puts the umami to the soup. You could taste the soup up here and just tastes like grandma's soup. Yum, yum. Those taste beans that I like to eat. And my wife is a really good cook. And she knows when something she cooked isn't so good. I thought it was really good. She said, "No, there's something missing." Okay then. Okay then. So that's kind of. Here I had, like I said, I read sometimes. Exclusion fencing. Fence around the creeks so the cattle won't walk in there and make it all dirty and make the creek muddy looking and not good. These people here, they're from Ashland County. They're call them a stewards. They did fencing on their creek, and the creek came back pure, clean. The birds came back. the animals came back that weren't there. So they're helping the water stay pure. This couple. Okay. By Crofton, is that Nebraska?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by Crofton, right here. It's a wonderful story. You could pass it around so you can get the ancient paper. That, probably get a back order. With that, I'll pass this around. You could pass this around and look at it. Goodbye to energy dependence. This is in Alaska. Discover more than 1,100 TWA hidden underneath the ice, and the find could change the world. Meaning there's rivers underneath the ice packed regions up there. And they call it hydrokinetic energy. Pure power without any kind of gasoline engines running the machines or anything. It's just doing it on its own. They're harnessing it with different captures the natural flow of water without disrupting the environment. Special turbines are placed underwater, spinning silently as rivers pass them, even when those rivers are sealed under ice for months at a time. You're still getting energy. Awesome! I like things like this. You know, when things are natural and you could skip through. There's a lot of good things in each paragraph. I just picked one, but things like that interest me. When there is a science behind being friends with our water, being friends with the water. We're doing field studies with our organization in Lake Andes. I work for another one, Braveheart Society. They're going up the rivers testing the waters on the Missouri and other tributaries for mercury and other chemicals that are in the water. A lot of that is leachate, the pesticides that are flowing into our waters. They're testing those to see how much damage we're doing to the water and find out how to clean it, how to filter it even better. I like a lot of the cities that have their filtering of their water filtration companies, city filtration companies. I admire them for the wastewater purification, right? That's us, the wastewater. Every time you wash your hands in the sink, it goes to be purified again someplace down the line, which is a good thing to at least purify it, not just let it sink into the earth. I'm interested. I'm not a scientist, but I'm interested. I'm interested so I could tell people who have societies that I could inform them about what I know. I don't know too much, but at least I could give them a kickstart so that their professionals could take it from there. We are concerned human beings, in other words, is what I'm saying. I am concerned for my children and their children. Our prophecies, our grandpas, Lakota grandpas said, one of these days, we're going to be buying water. Here we are, bottled water. One of these days, we're going to be buying water. Prophecies. Yeah, when the keepers of the fire came to our Turtle Island, United States area, when the fire keepers came, when they are coming, we knew they were going to come. Because when they arrived, there's going to be a lot of little black bugs all over the land. What were those little black bugs? Model Ts. And they run on fire. The fire keepers even went to the moon. When the fire keepers come, there's going to be a lot of little black bugs off of the earth. That's our prophecies. We didn't know the little black bugs were going to be Model Ts. It's just a vision. So you gotta listen to those old timers. You gotta have a little bit of common sense. I really appreciate people who say things naturally when they feel it. When they feel something. It's amazing. I tell stories to little tiny children too. The ones that are really ask questions all the time. I was telling stories, I said, you know when I was their size? And I was in the 49 blizzards. That's 1949. We stayed in our home for a long time because our home was covered with snow and we couldn't open the door. But we had a lot of wood and we had a lot of water in our barrels. Those old timers, they knew how to get ready. And so, when the winds finally stopped, and the whistles had stopped, the blizzard carries whistles, and the hum in the sky, As a little boy, so looking around. I don't know what this guy is, what he saw. But when he came out, finally pushed the snow, we got out of there. I came out and I looked in the sky. And it was the bluest sky I ever saw because I didn't see it for a while. And I asked my grandma, I said, Grandma, Grandma, why is the sky blue? She looked at the chocolate, it's ordinarily that way. She didn't answer my question. Why can't it be red, green, pink? That way, why? She said, ever since I knew it was that way. And so I said, again, my science question. That way, why? She said, go ask your grandpa. So, but my grandpa was busy with a long hiking stick. There were mounds, and there was hole, and then steam coming out. So I know there's a being underneath it. Boom, boom, and a cow would stand up. And he said, old lady, bring some water. In basins or buckets and stuff. He knew they needed water. But old lady is an English word. In Lakota, we know Shala means she with much wisdom. So he's saying, she with much wisdom, Manita will bring some water. Wouldn't you get more work out of somebody if you call them she with much wisdom? Probably. Does old lady work? Probably, I don't know. Hey, old lady. Maybe it works, I don't know. Like I said, I don't speak English like English. So, sometimes I don't know if I'm stepping on toes or stuff. So, forgive me for trespassing. Yes. One last thing I want to say before questions and answers. Here's what I want to say. I take responsibility for all humans to apologize to the water. Sorry. Sorry, water. And I hope more people say that. I'm sorry. There's no power songs, it's water. So I made one. It goes like this. Way up, way up, hey up, way up, hey, 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 way up, way up, hey up, way up, hey, 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 way up, way up, way up, way up, way up, hey, 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 oh. Maniki washte, que apelo, Maniki washte, cheki apo, Maniki washte, we ha, Maniki washte, we ha, water is good. Water is good. So they say. Water is good. Water is good. Pray for the water. Water is good. Then I accentuate it. Way up. And then accentuate it. Way up. Well, it's true. It's confirmed. It's true. That's what the accentuation means. Thank you very much. Question. Good. Thank you very much.